All right, everybody, here we go. We're on the Yellowstone River, and we're just a couple of miles away from the house. I wanted to do a real quick video and talk about temporary electrical on an overland camper. It's going to be a bit, but I have plans to get solar mounted on top of the camper, have semi-permanent lithium iron phosphate batteries, MPPT charge controller, and an inverter set up on the trailer. But until then, so I could get out and start enjoying what's going on this winter. If you can believe it's winter, it's almost New Year's Day in south central Montana. It's 40 frickin' degrees out, and we don't have hardly any ice on the Yellowstone yet. You can see how much snow's on the ground. So, but anyway, that gives me a chance to at least stand outside a little bit longer and visit with you guys and show you what I've got planned. Let's take a look at my temporary power. So we'll start right here. I've got a couple of small units. This one is mostly used for an LED lamp that I have inside the trailer, and it'll last all night easy. And this will run a small electric lamp, lap blanket. And then I have my big stuff up here. Well, not really big. I've got the lithium iron phosphate model Delta, and then I have a Delta Max and a Delta Max extra battery. The Max is 1600 watt hours. The extra battery is 2000 watt hours, so I have enough power to last for anything I possibly wanted to do. Recharge my electronics, whatever. These two will actually run my little 750 watt heater for a couple hours at night if I happen to run out of propane. Yeah, I'm running propane right now. It's not ideal, but it's what I've got. So there's my electrical power. I'm gonna go ahead and get everything set up, get the batteries moved into the camper and get it warm in there and get them plugged in, and we can start talking about temporary electricity. All right, here's what I've got planned for my permanent solar on the roof, and I think it's gonna work out real good. If you guys saw my introduction video and my disaster video, the previous trailer that I had before this that came apart had 100 watts solar on top. This one here I want to put 200 watts on, and let me show you where it's going. So I have the racks on top, and I did some measurements. I've got a Renogy panel, 100 watt. I'm going to order another one, and if I set it right up to the end of the luggage rack right there, it will stop just short of the rooftop vent. So I can put one on that side, one on that side. I measured them all out, set them up there, and took an eyeball at it, and I'll still have full functionality of my rooftop vent. And that'll give me 200 watts of solar, which is twice of what I had before. And then it'll be real easy to install a gland in the ceiling, get it all sealed up good, and run the solar power inside. So that's the plan I'm going to have for the permanent solar. So that's going to work out really good. Then once I get the PV leads going into the camper, then I'll run them to, as I said earlier, or alluded to earlier, I'll put me a little Victron MPPT solar charge controller inside, mounted into one of the cubbies, and also an inverter. And I want to get 2 lithium iron phosphate batteries to mount in. Now the holes going into the cubbies are a little bit small. I can't fit a 12.8 volt by 100 amp hour, but there is a company out there that makes a 12.8 volt 50 amp hour that will slide in sideways, and I can tilt it up, put some bungees on there to mount it semi-permanent, and there's plenty of room to mount 2 of them. I'll put them in series, and that'll give me plenty of power, give me 100 amp hours of power. And I can leave them in all summer. Wintertime comes, I can undo the bungees, bring them in the house when I'm not using it so they don't freeze. They are not as forgiving as an AGM or a lead acid battery. The lithium iron phosphate batteries are good to about freezing. You don't want to charge them below freezing. You don't want to discharge them below about 25 degrees Fahrenheit. So I don't want to have them problems. Fortunately, because I'm not going to stop going out because it's 25 below. I still want to go out camping and checking things out when it's really cold in the wintertime. Fortunately, I can heat the thing up. I'll put the batteries in the Jeep, get up on the mountain or wherever we decide to go, pull the batteries out, hook them in, tie the leads in, and I've got power. I still haven't come to a final conclusion on what I want to do for heat. What I'd like to do is, let me get down here without busting my butt. What I'd like to do is set up somewhere here some inlets like I talked about before. I'd like to do some kind of diesel heater, but the more research I do, I'm thinking more along the lines of maybe a Propex or something a little more expensive but a little bit more reliable. I don't have to worry about cleaning soot up. I have plenty of areas on the trailer to mount a 11-pound propane bottle, which will last forever. You know, I can get 2 or 3 days out of that easy. Or if I get enough battery power just to keep the edge off in the summer when it gets cool in the evening at night, I can run a little 250 watt electric heater off of the power, which will last quite a while. I get 100 amp hour, that's 1200 watts, 1200 watt hours, which will give me 4 or 5 hours on a small heater. Plus I have my auxiliary batteries, which we're fixing to go inside and take a look at right now. Okay, let's take a look at these front cubbies. This is where I'm thinking about putting the 50 amp hour batteries. So I get the panels mounted on top and run a gland. I'll probably secure the leads, put the box on this side, which will put it right about here towards the front. Run a gland close to the side, or I'll run it down and I'll have the gland come through right here, right through there, and then I have room for the charge controller and the inverter and the 2 batteries. You see I have a 290 power station in there. The batteries are a little bit shorter than that and just about the same width for 50 amp hour. I can mount 2 with the little bungees. They'll be good to go. Then they'll be easy to disconnect and take out when it's real cold outside in the wintertime, so they don't stay in there and get ruined by the weather. So I think it'll look pretty good. And then that'll give me my permanent power. I'll have an inverter. If you look between the 2 holes, right up above those, right here is where I'll put all of my outlets for DC. I want to put a regulated 12 volt cigarette plug, and then of course a voltmeter so I can monitor the battery life. And also one of the little dual USB ports. So I may put 2 in. I may put 2 C's and then 2 A's, because a lot of my equipment's older and everything's A to C. So that'll take care of all of my DC needs. With that set up there, also take a look up here. There's my 6-speed fan, 3 forward, 3 reverse. You see it's already wired in over there. It drops down outside. The reason it's set up like that is in case you want to put a battery box on the tongue. I'd rather have it inside, but it'd be real easy. Like I was talking about in the previous video, it'll be easy to reroute that. I can leave that routed right where it's at, run it through, tie it into the DC fuse box, and I'll have that powered. And I also want to mount right here a 12 volt LED floodlight. One that has adjustable intensity, and I can run the cable right here, right along next to it, and tie it in. And then on the bottom, I want to put 4 switches. The reason 4 is I have the switch for the fan. Where's it at? Right here. It's not plugged in yet. That'll leave me 3 additional. That'll leave me a switch for inside the camper, and then I'll have 2 switches, because I'll do a penetration either right here or right here, and I'm going to wire in 12 volt porch lights, 1 on each side. Run the wire up through, the other one will run over, drop right down to the other porch light. It'll be tucked away, it'll look professional, and I'll have full control right there at the head of the bed. I can hit either porch light, the inside light, It's going to be cool. I can't wait to get the permanent stuff in. I'll probably start on that next spring. I'll do a couple of videos on that. I'll break it up so I don't have a bunch of 25-minute messes. So I'm trying to keep these a little bit more informative and a little bit better. All right, let's talk about the temporary power that I have set up. It's real simple. You saw in the beginning I had everything strapped down on the shelving in the back of my Jeep, which I'll do a video on that. The tailgate shelf and then the back. I took the back seat out of my two-door Wrangler and I put a nice shelf in there, which gives me a ton of room. But that's a topic for another time. So let's go over one more time what we have. You can see where I have it set up. I've got 1,000 watt hours here. I have 1,600 watt hours here and a 2,000 watt hour extra battery. So I'm looking at 4,600 watt hours. That is a bucket load of power. And also I have, you saw the orange and black one I have above my head for the LED light. And it's pulling about 10 watts right now. I've got 65% left. It's 290 amp hour battery. So even at 50%, that's about 14 or 140 left at 10 watts. I've got 14 hours. I ain't gonna be out here 14 hours. And then also I have another unit right here. And this one runs about 578 watt hours. I haven't used it very much. The Jackery I've used quite a bit. It's the first one I bought when I first started researching portable power stations a couple of years ago. Everybody, Jackery this, Jackery that. So I went and bought the cheapest one I could find, a little 290 watt hour unit just so I could play with. I bought a 100 watt Harbor Freight solar panel to go with it, and it's been a blast. They're NMC chemistry, so they're lithium ion. The Jackery's lithium ion. This is lithium ion. Both of these are lithium ion. And I've had them for quite some time. This one's lithium iron phosphate. Difference being is cycle life. You get about 300, 400 cycles on a lithium ion, which doesn't sound like much, but if that's full cycles, they'll last several years. But you go 300 cycles down to 80%. For the sake of easy math, let's say this is 500 watt hours. You cycle it 300 times. Now you've only got 400 left. You've used up 20%. They degrade real fast. The lithium iron phosphate, they can be anywhere from 3,500 to 5,000 to 80%. You could do, if you had 3,650 cycles, you could do a full, complete drain and charge every day for 10 years, and you'd still have 80% less. Or left. So they last a long time. Usually the lithium iron phosphate, the technology is still fairly new, but the predictions are the shelf life will take a dump before you cycle them out. So make sure you buy quality. Make sure you get online, do your research, and get quality units. I like the units I have. I like these a lot. So what I'm going to do is pull out my heater, and I'm going to run into this one, which is 3,600 watt hours. I have a 750 watt heater. So you're looking at 4 hours on high, constant. It does have a thermostat. It'll run 750. If I can keep the chill off in here, it'll cycle on and off. If I can get it to run about 50% of the time, that 4 hours should give me 8 hours. And that'll be good. Then I can stay warm in here. In the corner, I do have a Big Buddy heater with fresh propane bottles. I don't like using them. I know they're safe and there's not supposed to be a CO problem or anything, but I keep this open about that much, and I open a window. It has low oxygen sensor, all of that stuff. That'll be used in emergencies. I'm just not keen on having propane heat in a confined area. Plus, the biggest problem with propane heat in a confined area is condensation. and that's the last thing I need is to get a bunch of condensation in here. And then I got mold growing, and the maintenance on the inside of the camper is going to be a lot harder, a lot more intensive to keep it dry. I don't like that. That's why I'm looking at, I know Propex are propane, but they burn outside and they have a heat exchanger, and you get dry, warm air in when I put the vents in, either the Propex or the diesel. I know there's a lot of pros and a lot of cons with the diesels. A lot of people hate them, a lot of people love them. They are so doggone cheap. I might just buy one and try it, and if I don't like it, I can go to the dump. I can run it till it pukes, and if it's too hard to tear apart and clean, or which it shouldn't be. I've seen videos. I'm a freaking millwright. I can figure it out. But if it's too much of a pain in the butt, I can trash it and get a Propex. My whole goal here, or one of the goals, is to be able to do this type of camping, overland adventures, and not break the bank. That's one of the things I absolutely love about this camper. It is probably, well, in my research, it is one of the most affordable overland campers you can get. Does it have an R19 insulation rating? No. Does it have a refrigerator and a stove? No. If you want that, go buy you a Black Series for $60,000. Or you can just see what they have in stock at this manufacturer, Overland. And you can pick them up between $5,500. They even have some base models with no fan. They're like $4,800. And you can option them out. You can get them. They have one that's a little bigger than this called the T-Rex Wedge. They can get as high as $20,000, but it's got a rack, an awning. I mean, it has everything: electrical system, solar. It's got everything you could want. Part of my adventure and what I like to do is build things myself. So I got the base model. The only options I got, like I said in the previous video, is the fan and the rear vertical cubbies and the window. I love that window. This is going to be perfect. I can build out the electrical system on it that I want. But anyway, I'm getting pretty close to wrapping it up. I'm going to run a test and see if this little heater I have will keep me warm. Hopefully it will. I'll get back with you in the morning and we'll see how it turned out. If the windows are all sweaty and I got water dripping off the top, you know it didn't make it, and I had to fire up the propane heater. But hopefully it'll be okay. I think it'll be all right. It's really warm. Like I said, it was 39 or 40 degrees today. I really want to do a cold weather test, hopefully when I get a better heater. But I really want to see how easy I can make it to keep this thing warm when it's 25 below, 30 below. We do get that cold here every winter. Usually when it's 30 below, 25 to 30 below, it's usually only a couple of weeks. But if I can get it set up with either a propane or a diesel heater, and I can keep it 55 to 65 in here, we're going to have a lot of winter fun. I think it's doable. I think I can do it on a budget, and I hope you guys come along for the adventure and check it out. Every time I do a modification, I'll drop a video on it. It's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm going to shut this down for now, and I'll see you guys in the morning. Okay, here we are. It's about 6:45 in the morning. Got a bit of a sunrise going on. Had a pretty good night last night. I got the Jeep running, so it'll get warmed up, and I'll start moving the batteries and everything into the Jeep once it gets warmed up. Still got a little bit of power in the Delta Max and extra battery. The heater ran all night. I did turn the propane on just a little while ago, about 45 minutes ago, so I could shut down the batteries and get them ready to move in the Jeep. So overall, it was a pretty successful test. Temporary power can get you out in the field when you want to get out in the field and you don't have permanent power set up in your trailer. I really like these portable power stations. They've been working really good. Like I said, I stayed warm last night. I got up around 1:30 a.m. It was 16 degrees out, so pretty good test. Got a little nippy this morning. It's a little bit warmer. It's about 25. So as dawn started to break, it did start to warm up a little bit. about 10 degrees, 9 degrees. So overall, pretty good night. I'm pretty pleased with how everything ran. We got a little bit of a breeze this morning, but not too bad. But it is a little bit nippy out. There's a little bit of ice on the Yellowstone, not a whole lot. I'll close out with a little bit of footage, time-lapse footage of the sunrise at the end of the video. Pretty happy with the way everything went. Yeah, everything worked good. There's the Jeep. Looks like the headlights are on, but they're not. That's just the orange LEDs around them. So yeah, I'm real happy. Had a good night. The footage I took yesterday evening when I first got here, I got it edited and stitched together. I'll get this added on, and I'll see if I can't get this thing posted today. So thanks for coming along. If you feel so inclined, I'd really appreciate if you'd subscribe to the channel and hit the notifications so every time I do an update, we can let you know. Thanks, and I hope you guys have a great new year. It's that time. 2024 is just a couple of days around the corner. So you guys have a great end to 2023, thank goodness, and 2024 is going to be a lot better. I'm going to go ahead and pack up and head to the house. So you guys take care, and this old man is out of here.